I don't even think the traditional in that sense is the way like men look at women as second class citizens.
How do they look at them now?
I can't speak for all of them because
How
I
do
don't
you
know.
look at them?
I look at women as my equal. That
But
don't. That
but
don't.
Punk, she's saying that those roles come from that system of
It's a
them
lot.
being
It's
second
a.
class citizens. That's what she's saying. So
But it's a
when
lot
Cam
of.
Newton says, you know, you need to cook and you don't know when to shut up, like she's saying that
He
comes.
have to say that.
He's saying
That's
that.
basically
but-
what
yeah,
you need
he's
to know
saying
how to
that-
shut up. You
Yeah.
need to know how to cook
Sometimes
my
everybody
food.
needs to know how to shut up.
But no, that's not.
He probably shouldn't have said that part. But
But is that how men feel?
what? That women need to know when to shut up.
Y'all talk too much.
Sometimes, yes.
Men don't.
Women are, sometimes I'm not
Men
saying
don't
that.
talk too
I'm not
much.
I'm not saying that.
Men don't
But
need to shut the fuck up sometimes.
Yes.
So if you
That's what I just
50-50
said. Everybody needs to shut up sometimes.
So why did he go to the extent of saying why didn't he say everybody needs to shut up sometimes
Because
and take a breath?
he's thinking-
He said women need to
He's speaking from a standpoint of when people say, I'll let a man lead if he's a man, he's speaking from the perspective, the mindset that if I'm a man and I'm leading, let me lead. Which means sometimes
shut the fuck up.
which means
Does it mean shut the fuck up?
which means allow me to lead. Sometimes if I say, hey, I got this, that don't mean you keep going and going. Like take what I'm saying and trust that I'm putting us in the right position.
But
what?
finish your sentence. I'm sorry, I was talking out of turn like a woman often does. Please, male, finish.
Dramatics.
Please, I talked out of turn.
I love your theatrics.
Come on, what
No,
was that
but
again, Mister? Sir,
I think that's all he was saying.
you know, I can appreciate all of that because. And I want to say this from a standpoint of a woman who was raised, who enjoys being in those traditional gender roles. It makes me feel good to dote on my man. It makes me feel good to take care of my man. It makes me feel good to cook for my family. It makes me feel good to make my home a peaceful, clean, just tranquil space for my family. That shit makes me feel good, right? But when I think about this idea of what is my role and what am I supposed to do? Then we start to have the conversation, well, what is your role? And what are you supposed to do? And where are you supposed to honor me? And where are you supposed to? And so when I hear, oh, men do these things and, it's like, well, the conversation to me is less about, what men's expectations are of women, but more so of what are we expecting each other to do? Because
Yes.
in my situation, I feel like gender roles put us in a box that don't allow us to communicate. Because I know men who like to cook. I know men who
love
like to do
cooking.
laundry. See, you love to cook.
I cook
right?
probably more than my wife do.
I knew people who love to do laundry, who love to do these things that were female gender roles, but because they were considered female gender roles, it was the woman's job to do. And when we start to look at these situations where what's maleness, what's femaleness, where do these things come together, I just think it just really limits a male's perspective of a female to only see her as nurturing in the home, raising the children, cooking the food, and shutting the fuck up, being barefoot and pregnant. Because let me tell you something, a woman brings so much more to a situation than those attributes. And those have been the attributes because women have been kept as second-class citizens. Women can be CEOs, we can make decisions, we can be astrophysicists, scientists, mathematicians. We can do all that shit. We were kept out of those spaces.
And there's
Not that
nothing
we
wrong.
were
There's nothing wrong with y'all being in
incapable
them
of that.
spaces.
But so why do men keep bringing us back to cook and shut your fucking mouth and have my fucking kids when I can be a computer and create the math equations that put people on the goddamn moon, but I gotta go in here and cook your goddamn hamburger helper
Somebody got
and
just
wash
like
We
you
better not be
said.
eating that bullshit. We
Right.
better not be eating
and
that
washing
bullshit.
and washing
We might as well
your
just order.
Somebody, somebody gotta
She said
cook, right?
helper.
Somebody gotta cook, right? Cause you said yourself you expecting a man to provide. So if he's going to work or whatever he's doing to provide, who cooking when y'all get home?
DoorDash. Who cooking? What the fuck does that mean? Who cooking? If I'm working a 10-hour day, what the hell you mean? We live in a fucking 6-figure lifestyle. You pulling in yours, I'm pulling in mine. Who the fuck do you think is cooking? DoorDash. Cause I'm getting off at 6 o'clock just like you, bro.
And some men will prefer to have a home cooked meal
Then they
instead
should
of
get a
DoorDash.
slave.
Why is that a slave? Why is that a slave?
Then they should get a maid or a slave. Because a woman should not be expected to do these gender roles. If you want to expect a meal at home, then get a chef.
I didn't say you were.
Get a chef.
If
you expect
both
a
of
meal,
y'all work,
get a chef.
If both of y'all work, somebody got to cook, right? Or you saying no, don't ever cook? No, hold on. You saying don't ever cook? Because when I go home and cook, even after work, I don't feel like I'm a fucking slave.
I'm saying if a man is sitting up thinking, I need somebody to get in here and cook my meals, clean my house, then you need a maid. You don't need a wife. Because a wife is your partner in that household and how that works. And if y'all both decide you gonna earn and I'm gonna co-earn, and together our earnings is gonna create this lifestyle that we want together, babe, you not gonna stop my flow because somebody gotta cook a meal. I gotta stop being a CEO of a company because you need a meal cooked. It's called a chef. It's called a cook. It's called DoorDash. It's called whatever. Because if I'm holding it down, if I'm a judge, if I'm something of priority that requires me to work past 4:30 for you, so I can't hustle home and get your meal together.
And when I cook, what am I?
My husband?
I ain't a fucking slave.
Maid?
I'm a maid.
No. I said when you have the expectation that there is somebody who should be at home cooking and cleaning, that is called a chef and a housekeeper. Not a wife.
So you expecting somebody to provide? What is that called?
What do you mean?
What do you call that person?
A provider?
Okay. But you saying you expect the man to provide, right?
No. Well, when we had that part of the conversation, you taking a snippet out of a conversation when we were talking about masculine versus feminine roles. But if we were in a relationship and his thing was, babe, I really need you to cook, I'm going to let him know up front, I'm not a cooker.
Right, that's fine. And
so
then
don't come home and expect a meal.
When you say you expect the man to provide, how should he look at that? Should he feel like a slave?
No, he should look at it as, I look at you with such admiration that you a go-getting ass dog, that you go get that bread and you bring it home and you provide for our circle and you bring it home to us. We grow, we build from there. That's a provider, not some dude who bring a check. Not a check provider.
So why?
I'm talking about a builder and a provider. I'm talking about somebody who bringing it home, so we are building, not somebody who bringing it home, planting a check there.
Yeah, that's cool.
To get you off his back.
I'm trying to figure out why there's so much negativity placed on cooking and cleaning.
It's not. There are lots of great folks who provide that service if you don't have time to do it yourself.
So why would you feel like a slave if you're doing it?
I feel like a person who has the expectation that I'm going to hold somebody against their will and tell them what they're going to do and expect them. And if they try to leave, I'm going to lord over them their children, their financial future, probably even hit them, that's a person in a hostage situation.
Okay, you going
And there are
into
way
some
more
other stuff that ain't
women
got
who are
nothing to
in
do
those
with the
kind of
question.
situations.
You going into other stuff ain't got nothing to do with the conversation.
It does when you talk
It
about
don't.
people being held in hostage
I
situations. When
never
you
talked
talk
about
about,
that. I never said any of that. I'm just talked about cooking and cleaning, the specific task that was brought
I
up
just
because
think cooking and cleaning is something that could be outsourced when y'all a money
it's a
making
bunch
couple.
of tasks in the household every day. For whatever reason, some of them women don't do. Some of them men might not feel like they should do. I'm not coming in the house and some heavy as hell done fail or something like, yeah, babe, equity, go ahead pick that up. I'm a fucking jerk if I do that.
Or you gonna get shown immediately how strong your motherfucking wife is, how resentful she is that something that you could have easily done that you now making her do, you abusive and asking her to do it. Like, that's some bullshit. That's that bullshit.
It's bullshit,
That's
right?
that bullshit.
Because he should have just did it. What I look like, your slave? I just got off work. You want
That's
me to come in here
not a
lifting
slave
shit?
situation. A slave
Oh,
situation
okay.
is when the systems around you are proportioned in a way that you can't just walk out the house and leave. You can't just call the police and say, he's beating me. Come over here and stop it. When the police come and they say, well, everything will be okay. Up until a certain point in time, there was no domestic violence situation. Well, there was domestic, but it had to be so extreme. Up until a certain point, police wouldn't be
You
called
putting
out for
cooking and
domestic
cleaning in that-
situations.
in domestic situations?
I'm connecting the way men traditionally treated women in situations where they had no freedoms.
That's purposely why I
Asking,
said
can we
it's
go
not
back
like
to
that
that?
now. I've been said I don't think that's how men look at traditional. No. Ain't nobody keeping y'all hostage. Ain't nobody telling y'all can't go nowhere. But it's a bad thing if I want a home cooked meal. Now
It's
you're
not
a
a
slave.
bad thing. You should just get a female who likes to cook.
But when it came to lifting something, it was
I can get a male. I can
You
pay.
shoulda-
I can
you-
pay the
you coulda
maintenance
just
people
did
to
it.
come do it.
you should have just did it instead of making a big
You
deal.
comparing lifting a box to
To
preparing
cooking?
a meal?
What's the difference? My mama wouldn't touch no
Have
garbage.
you ever prepared a meal?
Yes, my mama wouldn't touch no garbage.
How long does it take to prepare a meal?
Depend on what the meal is.
Basic meal.
It don't. I'm trying to figure
How
out why does it
long does
matter.
it take to prepare a meal?
30 minutes.
How long does it take to take out garbage?
60 seconds, maybe.
Okay. Did you have to go to the store to meal prep? Did you have to prep the food? Did you have to cook the food? Did you have to serve the
What
food?
if I went
You
to the
comparing
store?
that to taking something out
Hold on.
to carrying
What if I went to
something?
the store? What if I went to
We
the
not
store and I wanted
adding
you
that
to cook?
to it. You adding picking something up to cooking a meal.
I'm trying to figure. It's a
Picking
task.
something.
We're talking about
no,
tasks.
we're talking about a task that takes 10 seconds that's effortless versus a task that takes
effortless.
planning.
Hold on, effortless.
Can
What?
you not pick
Effortless.
up that ottoman?
Hold on, effortless. So it don't
Effortless.
take no energy, no strength, no. You saying effortless? Like I just looked at it and the motherfucker jumped over there.
Nah, I'm saying it like you are a person who was perceived to be strong enough to pick that up. So I asked you to pick it up.
So when you,
But when
so
you
when
asking
you say,
me to prepare a meal, what you asking
to me that's
is
effortless.
30 minutes of my time cooking, shopping, doing all of that stuff for something that you yourself said took 60 seconds. You comparing those
Cooking
two?
is effortless to me.
Cooking is not effortless.
To me, it is. I
Well,
love to
you're-
cook. It's effortless.
apparently-
I'm just.
It's not to me, and I'm not a cooker, so it
but you
takes
see
a
how
lot
you
to
look.
it.
You see how you look at it
But
differently.
it's effortless to me to pick up something heavy.
Not if you can't pick it up.
If I can't pick it up, then I obviously need the equipment to pick it up. I'm pretty strong.
Okay.
Sometimes I might call a dude in to come pick it up if I don't have the equipment.
Make them your slave for the day.
No, not my slave. Don't be trying to talk about my slaves for the day.
Damn.
They ain't never complained.
Why would they?
Exactly.
It's just a box.
It's a slave for the day.
As long as the reward is great.
Exactly.
So Let me ask y'all a question. Y'all got me tripping over here. Y'all got me
Trying
tripping.
to be extra spicy like his Caliente shirt today.
So, y'all got me tripping, boy. I think we should.
That slave shit really bothered me
What's this? What bothers you about it?
because like this lady said that on a post I
Oh,
made,
oh.
and it was just like,
Slave done
why
triggered you.
because why I don't understand why women feel like someone is looking at them like a slave.
Can I break it
for
down to
shit.
you in real life?
Yeah, sure. If you
Are
can.
you open to receive it?
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
I ain't saying I'm agree with you,
No,
but
no, you don't have
I'm
to agree
listening.
with it. Let me help you. Females, not only religiously but legally, have always been positioned in a way that males, just at least in a lot of the contemporary cultures, males dominate in the decision making, males dominate in the rule making, males dominate in the financial systems. STEM, which is science, technology, math, all that good stuff, is underrepresented for females. Why? Because a lot of spaces are male and they don't want females in them. The Civil Rights Act, which included sex as a joke, and this is real, you can look that up. They thought if we included sex in race, ethnicity, religion, blah, 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 nobody would vote for that. Because no senator at that time wanted to see their wife included in this. So it was a joke. And they added sex into the civil rights and the identified identities, I guess. And it passed unintentionally. Women are considered second-class citizens in the United States. We didn't have the right to vote till well after the 1900s. We were not able to have bank accounts on our own. We were not able to secure housing on our own. We were not able to, even when I wanted to get a tubal, my body, my tubes, my husband had to sign off on that shit. He had to tell a doctor what to do with my reproductive organs. That was his choice, not mine. Do you know what that feels like?
No, I don't.
Come back when you do.
No.
Come back when you do.
Every
When
night.
somebody else got to sign off on your body shit, then come back and talk to me.
All right.
I'm going to just leave it with that.
Let's leave it there.
So all that break down the cooking.
No, all that breaks down to the marginalization of the female.
I'm just trying to figure out what cooking and cleaning make you a slave.
When you are required to do something, whether you want to or not, it's forced labor. That is, and you're not paid for it. You're not compensated for it. That is bondage and slavery.
Yeah, nobody said that though. What you was saying, though, Deuce?
Moving on. Whew. Y'all are spicy today.
She trying to twist conversations.
Shit.
I like the deepness though, but
Good.
yeah.
This is gonna be definitely 2 episodes. So, all right. Let's just go to. Let's get back in our safe space. Let's bring it on in. Let's
What's
reel
a
it
safe
on
space?
in. Relationships. You love a good relationship. You do.
I'm a romantic at heart. I love relationships.
A romantic at heart, a savage at mind.
I'll get your
Goddammit.
ass. But I love you and I pull you in.
Shit.
That sound about right.
Savage at heart.
Yeah.
I mean,
You gotta be.
what is it?
Romantic.
Romantic at heart.
Savage at mind.
Yeah.
You gotta be in Chicago.
Nah, Chicago. What
So-
you got for us, Deuce?
So when you're in a relationship and you guys break up, your exes, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with all those relationships you made in that relationship? Do you stay friends with the ex, your now ex family? Do you stay friends with them? And what about the friends that you made in that relationship? Do you cut those friendships off? Do you continue them?
You want to go first? You want me to go?
I want you to go first. You already laughing over there.
So I'm a Scorpio. I cut everybody off. I scorched the earth.
Manish.
It's done. Goodbye. We had a nice life.
You cutting off all the friends and family too?
I don't even want to listen to the songs we listened to when we was together. I don't want to go to the restaurants we went to. Like,
Damn.
that's it. But I will say, the two significant relationships in my life, we are still friends. I am still friendly with their mom. I mean, we had our rocky patches, but my exes call me periodically. They still check on me. We still, because we was friends at the end of the day. And
so, do you cut them off or no?
Right.
It sounds like
No,
you don't cut them off.
Contradicting yourself.
I cut them off, but I mean, we could be friendly when they come back. But that's it.
So what about they friends or they family? No, but you still friends with mamas and stuff? No, just a couple.
Just the dude. I know you. I know them through you.
What if you guys met somebody at the same time?
What you mean?
Like as a couple, you met somebody, and now you built a friendship with them. Do you cut that person off because I met you through this friendship? I mean, I met you when I was in this relationship.
If I had to be honest, yes, I'm gonna cut everybody off. Like, I'm gonna cut every road, branch, everything off that leads to that break off, because it was painful. And when I get to a space of healing, maybe if we've had some time together, like my high school sweetheart, I was close with his family and we had a rocky patch. We're not as close as we were, but I'm close with, I'm
cut
friendly
the family
with
off?
him. We all kind of cut each other. But yeah, I will cut people.
So everybody got to go. What about you,
I'm
Punk?
sorry.
I like to think, no, you don't have to cut everybody off, but people gonna choose sides, either intentionally or unintentionally. So,
Have you had friends that left with a relationship and you thought, oh, I thought you were my friend?
no,
I've had friends who left with the relationship. Like, I really thought this person was my friend.
You knew them before the relationship?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
I don't think I've ever had that happen. I don't know, but I mean, I have friends who are still friends with exes. They don't really. I don't know. That don't bother me.
But are you the kind of person that likes to keep in touch?
No, not necessarily. No, not really.
So do you just cut folks off
My
naturally?
exes?
Anybody, like when you kind of
Now in life I do. When I was a little younger, I still used to. Before I knew how detrimental it was to my well-being. But I used to talk
hang
to.
in there.
I used to talk to. Cause I never left on bad terms per se with my exes. Cause it wasn't like I was cheating or shit like that. Did nothing dirty to them, but. Yeah,
He's such a good
So how
guy.
y'all break up? Like, if y'all just say,
He's such a great guy.
this isn't working, so let's break up. Why
It
y'all
wasn't
even
me.
break up if it was that chill and
It
cool?
wasn't me.
It was them. They said, get out of here. We don't want you no more.
Oh no, I broke up with them. A lot of
It
them.
wasn't you, but you broke up with them.
I'm saying I wasn't the reason.
But you broke up with them.
Most of the time.
You were the reason for the breakup because you broke up with them.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I didn't have no bad blood. It wasn't like I did nothing. You
didn't have no reason to. You broke up. You broke up with them.
You just love them and leave them. Just
No, they did something. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't me. They did something to mess that up.
So do you think dudes be staying friends with
With females?
yeah. Hoping to try to get some.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had this one guy.
I mean, I was, and that's what I'm saying. I mean,
Go ahead, Lady D. Go ahead, Lady D. Let Lady D get it out.
I heard this one guy. We were
Friends with benefits.
Yes, thank you. That's a great way to put that. So we were crazy friends with benefits, like 2 days a week friends, maybe 3 days a week.
Y'all was in a
friends with-
relationship.
No. It was strictly a understanding.
Okay.
And
Until somebody stopped understanding.
no, well, maybe he did, but anyway, I feel like when when we were in that situation, and it was amicable, meaning we both were cool with what was going on, but then when it was not,
He wanted more. You wanted more.
no, he
Right. Which typically happens. Somebody started to want more than just the
Yeah.
benefits.
She played into it though. She ain't gonna
Of
say that
course.
part.
Of
She
course
ain't gonna
she
say that
did.
part.
Of course
She
she
ain't gonna
did.
say. She
He
ain't gonna talk
had-
about the texting every day. She ain't gonna talk
He-
about all the
no,
slick
no,
shit.
no.
She
He
said.
was-
She just gonna say that he started feeling this way.
No, he was
React.
no. He was amazing in the bed. He was super attentive. We didn't jive, but when I think about it, in that situation, it was better that we were more friends and kind of dissolved in a copacetic kind of way. But I feel like he wanted more. It just wasn't.
Ain't what you wanted.
It wasn't gonna happen.
You led them on.
No, I just can't do it.
You just came to party. That's all.
Do it, D.
Toxicity at its
Exactly.
finest.
Why is it toxicity?
You knew he wanted more, but you kept going back
All
for
men
that.
want more.
But you kept giving him more too, right? Just not the
I
more
wasn't
he
giving
wanted.
him more. I was coming getting.
Yeah,
I wasn't
you wasn't
giving.
You wasn't
I
gonna
was
give
getting.
him. You wasn't gonna give him what he
I
wanted.
was getting. It was. He wasn't doing anything to me. I was getting. He was doing his job.
That's all y'all wanted, some head.
What'd you say? Some head.
You heard the fuck out shit.
What you? He did or I did?
Y'all,
Us.
us, all of whatever you want to
But
say.
what's wrong with that? Like,
Nothing.
what's wrong
No,
with?
nothing wrong with that.
I feel like when we talk about traditional women, and we talk about men's expectation of what is a traditional woman, what is wrong with a female in this day and age who can support herself, secure her future. But I'm not gonna be fucking on no rose or a bullet or any of those.
Cool.
I ain't mad at nobody and they toys, but what you supposed to do?
Get you some dick.
And how do you do that without getting in their feelings?
Somebody gonna get in their feelings 9 times out of 10.
But men try to act like they the master of non-attachment, and we just gonna do these hookups and these blind hookups. How do you navigate when you a female who I'm busy, but I got needs?
You just find somebody that's just gonna satisfy.
How
them
many are
needs.
you okay with a woman who just like, look, I just need you to come through twice a week, get it done, get out,
Yes.
and get your feelings out, all of that.
Women ain't saying that though.
Yes. They not. But yes.
They not saying it.
Hell no.
They just doing it to you. You just
But-
walking to your car.
They want to go on dates,
They
all
wa-
this other shit. When in reality,
Text
they
every
just want some
day.
dick. Yeah, like instead of just saying, "Hey, this is what I want," they want to explain all this other stuff and want to talk and text and
They love the cat and mouse game.
But men don't. Men don't like then why do you text somebody 5 times a day?
Hello, beautiful.
Again,
Hey,
I have
beautiful.
0 time.
Hey,
Like,
beautiful.
it's dudes who I feel like, yes, I want to show them some attention. I want to shower them with some attention, but I don't have time to be on the text. Good morning, King.
Tell that to
How's
them.
your day going?
Tell
What you
that to-
eating for lunch?
tell that to
Grand
them.
Rising. Like, I don't have time for
Tell
that.
them that.
So when they text you,
Don't indulge.
you could just simply say, "You need some dick,"
And what's
and
gonna
then they'll
happen?
stop all the extra texting.
Right.
And then they'll be real disrespectful.
hit me.
What'll be disrespectful?
It'll be real disrespectful because I have had situations where I've said, look, this is what I need. I don't need that. I need this. And then they got real disrespectful. Like, oh, you that kind of bitch. Like Cam Newton said, oh, you a bitch. Oh, you a
Cam
this.
Newton ain't say
No,
that.
Yeah, he did not say it in that context. Cut
He
it out.
said, I'm going to say
Stop.
bitch, but not in a respectful way. I don't care how you chop it up. You
Disrespectful.
call a woman a bitch.
Okay,
that's
stay on your point. Stay on your point
But
that you
my
were saying.
thing is that if you asking a person, hey, can you just come through and be like this? Can you just do what I need you to do with all that, without all the extra stuff? And then the disrespect that comes, oh, well, then she is this kind of woman now, and I can be, well, come eat the dick now, and all of these real.
Oh, you still want them to talk to you nice?
Yeah.
Who the fuck wants to be insulted in an intimate moment? Do men want to be insulted?
Maybe he think it was
Do
insulting.
men want to be insulted?
Maybe he think it
Y'all
was.
want to hear, come get your trifling ass over here and get on your knees and suck it. That's what y'all want to hear?
Maybe he was
I
insulted.
mean, I think it's just a communication issue. Is that how y'all like to be wooed? Get your trifling ass over here, lick my hole. Ooh. That's how y'all want to hear? Hey, babe, I want to attack that. And then I need you to... Is that how men want to be talked to?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
But what I'm saying is, you saying he
If it's demon
disrespect.
time.
If it's
You
what?
know,
If it's demon
Demon
time.
time.
you saying that he was being disrespectful, which if that's how you feel, maybe. But maybe he felt disrespected when he was trying to woo you, and it was like, I just need some dick. I don't really care nothing about the rest of what you're talking about. So that's how he responded.
I feel like I can ask a guy, can we have an
Casual
arrangement?
sex.
Because I'm not in a space emotionally to be in a relationship with you. But we got chemistry. I think you hella fly. I want to invite you into my space, bro. I want you to see me with a bonnet on. I want you to come spend the night and come. But I'm busy. I'm fucking busy. Can you handle that?
Yeah.
No. No, they can't handle it. I'm telling you.
I mean, and
They
in all
handle
situations,
it.
you just ain't met the
Get
right
out.
ones.
Get out in the morning.
You just ain't met the.
Get out
So
that night.
here's the other question to that. Do you have to be the only one
The only one what?
that he's seeing 2 nights out the week?
I don't give a fuck.
Oh, that's easy then. I don't see why you would have any issues.
Because men,
Are you explaining it just like that?
men get in their feelings when you flip the script and you start saying,
When you flip the script, look at the action. When you flip the script.
when I'm busy, when I work, when I'm at work, I'm working a 50-hour work week. I'm busy. I'm paying my bills. I'm at the gym. I'm hanging out with my girls. I'm doing all that stuff. I'm busy.
So he can't never call you and tell you he needs some time. It's only when you need some time.
I'm busy. My phone about to die. I gotta go see about my mama.
So it's only about you.
But 9 times out of 10, this is the behavior that women are experiencing from men.
So it's only about you.
It's about whoever's the most selfish person in that relationship, I feel like, in most cases. But yes, will I want it to be about me a lot of times? Yeah, because when it's about me, it's still going to be about you. Because I'm a giving person.
But you saying you don't want them to call you like, hey, I need a fix. You don't want that, right? Because you busy.
I would prefer a text.
Okay. If he texts you, hey,
Don't mean shit.
If I'm free,
I'm busy. I
She
can't
busy.
text.
If
I don't
I'm
got this stuff.
if I'm free, I do a lot. I'm busy. Man, I think men don't understand that. I was dating a guy, and something happened over the weekend. We were supposed to go away for the weekend, and super excited. I was all ready to go.
You said that you gonna be mad at me, Tex. you gonna hate me for this, but
No,
So you can take
Please
trips for
don't
the
be mad.
weekends, but that ain't y'all
Please
not in a
don't be mad.
please
relationship.
don't be mad. But
Please don't be mad.
You can take trips for the weekend, but y'all not in. That's not relationship type stuff.
No, we not in a relationship.
Okay. Hey, I'm with the shits. I'm just asking questions.
Yes, I could take a trip for the weekend with a person, and we know we not in a relationship. We two people who like to travel and like to get it in.
Now see it, cause I always ask the questions when they do you do relationship things with pen? I'm like, what's relationship things? And then people get the listing off all this stuff. So
What's
I'm just
relationship things?
Shit, I don't know. But people say going on dates, going out to the show, taking trips, traveling, those relationship things.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
I have more, as a single person who dates, I have more guys who position me for let's take a weekend trip within a month of meeting them. They want to fly me somewhere.
is that because they think they're gonna get the draws
I
guaranteed?
think so. I think they feel like if we go somewhere, it's gonna be a different kind of situation. Perhaps being in a hotel. I don't know what their motivation is, but yes, I get asked to travel a lot, and when I think about it, it's like okay. But one particular time, I had to work. Something happened, and I had to work, so I had to say, "Look, I'm sorry."
You gonna hate me?
I'm sorry, but this happened. I have to work. And he just did
Understandable.
not understand. It was Sunday. No, yeah, it was Sunday because it was a Sunday, Monday trip. It was Sunday.
So how much in advance did he get?
Not too much because my job,
How much?
he didn't get a lot of it in notice.
24 hours.
No, like some hours.
Couple hours. Who the trifler? Who the trifler?
The person who created the chaos at my job. Like, I can't control that. But when I'm a female and a man tells me I got this emergency at work, you got to understand. I understand. You got to work. But when it's a
Hell
female
no,
and I got
y'all
an
be
emergency
into
at
funny
work,
shit. You was there probably with some other chick. It
because
be
you
all
got a pattern
type
of cheating.
Oh,
You only make
shit.
a woman go there if you got a pattern of cheating. No? No?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know.
Yes.
Wasn't my
Punk,
life.
you might have met your match, boy.
Well,
You
it's a
looking,
pattern
you looking worn
of
out over
cheating.
there, man.
Wasn't my life.
It's a pattern of cheating, and she doesn't trust you.
It's a-
And so now
A guy
nothing you
do
can
it, it's a
do.
pattern of cheating. Woman do it, something really came up.
I have a job that has responsibilities, and if my job says I got to do this, then that's what the hell I got to do. And you got to understand, because as a woman, we are required to understand man things like that. So when
No,
something
clearly
comes
y'all
up,
don't. You just said that's a pattern of cheating.
I say if you have a pattern of cheating, that's when that line of questioning will come up.
If you ain't even with a person, then what's really your thought process?
What do you mean? If she's asking you questions like that?
If you ain't even with a person, y'all ain't in a relationship, and some shit like that happen, then what's your thought process?
I gotta reschedule.
Because I don't know your pattern. So
My thing was
don't know
I
what
needed
you
to
might be
reschedule,
doing.
but he didn't respect that. He was just like, he didn't understand why we couldn't have this weekend. And I'm like, bro, this is how I make my money.
Because you got a man at home and you ain't tell me, so
Maybe that's his trauma from the past, but in real life, I'm a person
Kinda
who
like
has a
that
lot of
pattern of cheating.
responsibility. No, I don't have a pattern of cheating.
no,
That's why
that be trauma from the past. That pattern of cheating you talking about, that be past
for
trauma.
guys, yeah.
Past trauma.
For guys.
Nah, for women.
Yeah, that's how we hold y'all into accountability. When you have this pattern of cheating where you
When
showed up
dude
as a
had a
liar
pattern.
and a deceiver, yeah,
Right.
we gonna
That's
bring
that
that back
trauma
up
from the past.
when you
That's some past
trying
trauma.
to move a certain kind of way that reminded us when you was a
Past
liar
trauma.
and a cheater.
That's that past trauma.
Yes.
Y'all be doing that to me and ain't had nothing to do with y'all. It be some man before and times before, and this now you putting that on me.
Like trauma that men feel is so early in their life, either with the first or second significant relationship, their mother, like it's so super early in their life that trauma happens that they just hold on to as their archetype of relationships. But you want to ask about a woman who is adapting to your traumas and brokenness and trying to navigate that in a relationship?
While having her own trauma and brokenness.
No, by not necessarily believing you're going to show up as the way you're going to show up when you have deceived her in the past.
The representative. That's what you're talking about.
No, I'm talking about people who just have a pattern of lying in a relationship. Are you looking at me like I have a pattern of lying in a relationship?
I'm looking at you like women have trauma and they be putting that on men from past relationships, but expecting men not to have it.
Not to have trauma?
Yes.
I don't think it's that women don't expect men to have trauma. It's that the frequency at which a woman is running into problematic relationships where she is experiencing trauma can tend to be a little bit more significant than men.
That's what you think.
That is just my thought. I don't have a statistic to back that up.
Okay.
But I dare anybody to say,
Different.
no, men have way more trauma, especially the black man in the black community.
Oh, shit.
What?
Nothing.
What? What'd you say? Oh, shit about that comment?
Because y'all just think men don't have trauma from relationships.
No, I know men have trauma.
Just as much as
I know they
women
have
do.
trauma, and I know they have brokenness, and I know they have insecurities and fears and all of that stuff that they mask with this huge toxic ass bullying behavior.
Because we ain't allowed to feel nothing.
Y'all allowed to feel shit, but why you gotta feel it upside a black woman's head?
We don't. But when we express it, I don't understand why you feel any type of way about this conversation.
I don't understand what gets men so hot and bothered about child support.
It's it ain't just child support. It's every conversation when men express how they feel. It's looked at like, why are you expressing yourself? Why do you feel that way? You shouldn't be saying that.
So a fair argument would be if somebody was expressing some really intense issues and then somebody said, well, why are you expressing that? And you don't have an answer for that, but you have an attack against the person that's asking you why you're expressing that. We don't understand. We need clarity.
If I'm expressing it to you, what's not to understand?
If you saying black men have trauma, and I say, well, why do y'all have trauma?
Do you know how often women say men need to get out their feelings?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
How
All right.
often?
All the time.
I wish men would get more in their feelings. I think men are disconnected from their
But
feelings.
when they do,
what
we
happens?
hear shit like, I don't understand why you feel any type of way about this.
Because
get
y'all-
out your fifis. Men, all in your feelings. That's why.
Do you get in your feelings as soon as it happens, or do you let things smolder? Do you try to pace yourself and ignore them and push it over and then you explode, or do you address every issue as it comes up?
Why does it matter?
Because if you are a person, if men are internalizing and holding in all of these different feelings and then at these pivotal points spewing out all of this emotion, yes, it's like, well, what's happening here? Let me help unpack all of these emotions that are coming out at me. If you have been internalizing 5 different things and now you're saying all of that to me, yes, I'm going to ask you, what is the basis of this feeling? Because if you mad about a bunch of different things and you going off, that's different than my core issue is this. So yes, I'm going to ask, why are you in your feelings about this? Have you been holding in a ton of stuff, or are you addressing things as they
It'd
come
be
up?
one thing, the same way you said, I don't understand why men get in their feelings about child support. It'd be one specific thing, and we could talk about it, let it out, and it'll be, get out your fifis. You have feminine energy. Why are you so emotional?
Is that what you're hearing? Are you feminine? It's okay. Get in your fifis.
I see it all the
This is
time,
safe
and
space. You can be in your
ridiculous.
fifis.
I'm very in tune with my feelings.
I think that's a good thing.
Me too. I don't have no issues with that.
I feel like it's a good thing to be able to have real in-depth conversations with people who matter. I'm not talking about superficial relationships of folks
No,
that
not
don't
at
matter.
all.
I'm talking about people who are in your life, who are your source of stability, all of that stuff. If you have a partner who sees you going there and they're like, why are you in your feelings? I don't care, male or female, and you expressing some real stuff, that's toxic behavior to me. I'm not gonna say male, female, that's toxic behavior. If a person is expressing real hardship and your response to that is, why are you in your feelings? I don't care what gender that person is that said it. That's abusive and toxic behavior. So if somebody is doing that to a male, and I'm not going to say there are not people who do toxic things to males that make them into these narcissists and devils and demons. Females who doing it. Yeah, I'm not saying that. But I feel like it is, something that should be encouraged for men to start to connect to their feelings, because they bottle so much of that stuff in that they just become volcanoes of emotion.
And the problem is, you're saying that,
What's the problem?
but women will feel differently.
About?
They don't want to hear men expressing their feelings all the
I
time.
do.
They get told. Men get dragged.
I think females who
expressing
feel
their feelings.
intimidated by a male expressing her females is a female who's never had an intimate relationship with a man. If you've never seen your father cry and you see a man cry, yeah, it's gonna feel weird to you.
Oh, so that's that childhood trauma like you was talking about.
No,
men be
it's
having.
about females' relationship and orientation to the men in their life. The men who are role models, like fathers, uncles, grandfathers, things of that nature. If they don't have that kind of relationship and you're coming in emoting, then they potentially can not know what to do with that.
So is that not childhood trauma?
Should children see their father cry?
I think so. I saw my dad cry when I was little, when him and my mom divorced, and it just really made him a human to me. Because my dad was like larger than life to me. Like, he was 6 feet, built, handsome. When he would come up to my school, like, my dad was my hero in a lot of ways. And when I saw him crying, it was like, oh man, this is serious. And he's humanized to me, because before that moment, my dad just was bulletproof. And when I saw him break down and cry, I was like, oh snap. Everything I thought about men in that moment was changed, because I saw him being vulnerable.
Change for the good?
Yeah, for sure. Because I feel like men bring about this kind of persona that they're tough, macho, can handle anything, they're strong, all these things. But what about when you need to be soft and vulnerable and cry and collapse and have a moment and things happen and stuff happen? You know what I mean? Like, what happens in those moments, and are the people around you ready to receive that?
Nope.
It's something to see a man cry,
Unfortunately,
especially an ugly cry.
Unfortunately, a lot of men don't have the space to express their emotions, cry, none of that.
What did they do when Michael Jordan cried at his Hall of Fame?
Mean.
What they do when Jada embarrassment wheel on Red Tabletop.
Meme.
What they do it?
'Cause
Kanye was crying for his family on
God.
stage.
Meme.
And I think that's unfortunate because, first of all, and I can only speak for black men because I've never had this moment with a white male. If a black man is in a room with you crying and he's not just an emotional, manipulative asshole, and he's being real with you and he's crying and he's being vulnerable, that's a rare moment. But then when you on the receiving end of that, some people don't know how to handle that. Like, some women don't want to see a man cry because they don't know how to handle that level of vulnerability.
Which turns them to telling men that, get out your fifis. Why
Because-
you so emotional?
Because they
That's
only
feminine
know
energy.
what women have taught them about men.
And y'all expect us to express emotions
Yes.
to get dragged.
No, I expect men to express emotions because you're human. Because to compartmentalize them and hold them in makes that toxic and hard for you to deal with. We don't know how to deal with you. Like, I feel like in the black community, the black father was this dark character that would come in at 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. You couldn't talk to this man. You couldn't talk. You couldn't come in the room, hug him. He got the big piece of chicken. He didn't want to talk to anybody. He just wanted to focus on TV. He was absent. He was abusive. He was the one who was going to whoop you when he got home because your mama said, wait till your daddy get home. Like, the black man in the dynamic has always kind of been this elusive male strength character that provided, and you couldn't approach this dude and you were afraid of him, or he was the disciplinarian, but he was not the loving, nurturing energy in that home. When my dad would come home, it would be like, shut up, sit down, we about to eat. Don't say too much to this man. Like, you ain't know what he was on. You know what I mean? And he would come in the door, we would be like, Dad is home, and he would be angry.
Long ass day at work.
He was at work fighting the man. He came home angry. You couldn't talk to this man for about 30 minutes to an hour because he was angry, and you just understood. And that's what it was like, living in a house with these men who would come home fighting the world. And it was like, but
And do you not think that children had to deal with that with their mothers?
for sure.
Okay.
I know it was some
Because
very...
mama came home mad.
my kids can probably tell you
Mama
about
came
me.
home mad and took it out on that ass.
If you ain't take that chicken out, like I asked you to, if I ain't see them lines in the carpet where you vacuum.
If that school calling,
Boy.
if that school call, man.
You know, all of that is a reason why I prefer to go to work and my wife not. Because all the stuff you talking about dealing with the world, why would I want you to go and deal with that?
So she could just deal with you?
No. But why would I want you to go? If I'm coming in angry from work and all the way you describing it, why would I want to put that on you?
I mean, I guess that's admirable, and I guess I can see the loving side of that, but to me that just seems controlling because I'm an able-bodied human who can go out and get it just like you can. I can get it, and I can have these babies. And ain't shit stopped the black woman from doing that, from slavery, when they had to have their babies and put them in little wooden things where they could drown if it was a flash flood. They had to have their babies in the fields and get right back up and work. Like, I can understand those things, and I can understand the black man's struggle and pain, but at the same time, do that while you having a baby, bro. And looking at your seeds in your face when men walk away.
All right, I ain't talking about that though.
What
We
are you
ain't
talking about?
that.
You talking about what?
I'm talking about if you saying all this about going
I want this
out,
woman
working
in the house
world,
that I'm protecting from the world.
I'm supposed to provide and protect.
Are you protecting her or are you shielding her?
Shield is for protection.
No, shielding is
It's for
retarding a
protection.
person and holding them back from the world. What happens
That's
when
not
you
what a shield
die?
does. That's a
What
shield.
happens
That's
when
not
you
what a
die?
shield.
When you have a household like that where the male is so dominant that he's the provider and she is a woman who can only run the home. What happens when that man dies? Because I can tell you what the answer is because I had an aunt who had this situation. What happens to him? What happens to her? When she can't provide for
hopefully they got
herself.
life insurance.
Of course they have life
I didn't want to
insurance.
say the. I didn't want to say the smart. I thought she was looking for something deeper.
Of course they have life insurance, but
So
guess
what
what
we
happened?
talking about?
Another man got put as the executor over her finances to continue to provide for her because she could not provide for herself as an adult.
How did another man get put over her finances?
Because that's how the patriarchy works.
What other man? If you're my wife and I
It
die,
was another man in the family. She was a housewife. She was this traditional woman. She was provided for. Her husband was a man of means. She never had to work. She lived that life. She lived that life. Never had to work. Well provided for. Then he passed away. Still continued to provide for her in the exact same way, but she didn't know how to do man things. So my grandfather had to be put over her finances.
It happens.
What you saying? What's the
happens.
man things? Like paying the
Paying
bills
bills.
and see, and that's why I'm saying I don't think the
Or it's
traditional
set up
sense.
to just go to the next. It's already put in place to go. All right.
It's
If
women.
I go, it's gonna go to
Right.
this dude. You know.
Yes,
This is who's
and
now
that's-
the executive of your
Right.
money. Look at Britney
And see,
Spears.
that's-
She
'Cause-
just came out of a conservatorship where her father was over her agency.
Everything. Yeah.
And what did
Why
she do
was
as
he-
soon as she
why
came
was
out
he
of
over
conservative? Because they deemed her to be an individual who needed somebody over her
Why?
everything, her decisions.
Why?
I don't know why.
Okay.
I didn't dig
So
into
let's
it.
not talk about Britney Spears because that was some whole different stuff going on.
But it's still an example of a woman who had her rights removed from her. A court put it over another gave it to another person who was to care for her.
Yeah, that was for a reason. What
was
that's
the
even,
reason?
That's
What does
even
it
more,
matter
I don't
the
want to talk about
reason?
Britney Spears. That's more why I'm saying I don't think that's the same now. If
That
I
just happened.
no,
The
listen to what
conservators.
listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
If I die and I have life insurance, it's not going to some man to hand down to my wife and no, it's going to her. It's not going to somebody else.
Because that's by your choice.
I'm
'Cause
saying
your
this is
man
the way the
logic-
world
But
is
no,
moving
no.
now.
That's
I
your
don't
man
think-
logic.
No,
This
that's
man's logic that I'm talking about, his man logic was my wife has been provided for all of her life, and in my absence, I need another man to continue to oversee to make sure she is provided for. Despite the
And
fact that
that's
times have changed,
that you can't despite the fact that
it
times have
was
changed
despite the
because
fact, because at the time when he wrote out the intentions of how his money was to be settled in his death, this woman had no choices.
So do you think times don't change?
I think times change, and I think what changes the conversation around female rights is the fact that females are able to go in and fight for their rights when they are being taken away from us by the patriarchy.
And what I'm saying is times are changing.
What has
Where
changed? We
that's-
just literally saw examples
you
of
talking
this.
about a couple things. That's not the norm. I don't think that's still the norm where people giving their life insurance to some man to take care of their wife. That's not how it's I don't think it's happening like that.
So when you have women who have been brought up in systems where they did not have to oversee the household function, and now that man is gone, you saying because you don't see evidence of that's not happening?
I'm saying I don't see it happening or think it's happening as much as you think it does. I think more people is going to the wife. Their wills being wrote It's all in a whatever documents, beneficiaries is going to the spouse. It's not going to some random. That's not how this is. It's not going like that anymore. Not at no significant rate.
I think the only reason why that is the case is because more women have more
Whatever the
agency
reason, whatever the reason
and can
is,
go into court and argue why this does not have to happen anymore. Because when you see males who go into courts and say, she has a lot of money, she's crazy, she doesn't know what to do with it, put me over her money, that happens all the time.
whatever the reason for it not being the case that much, it's not the case that much. And if somebody crazy, they probably don't need to be over their money.
Who are you to say though? And what's crazy? Having your own opinion, is that crazy?
Because people gonna call you crazy as hell.
Is having your own opinion crazy? Is having a way of looking at things differently crazy?
No.
So when you say a woman is crazy,
I
like,
didn't say a woman. I ain't say a woman.
well, what would have a woman? What would have something taken away from a woman in that way?
You said the court system deemed her crazy and said somebody need to be over her finances. So you gotta ask the court what
I didn't
deemed
say
her
crazy. They
you said
deemed
crazy.
her.
You said crazy.
They deemed her that she wasn't able to care for herself, and they put a conservator over her finances.
So the court deemed she couldn't care for herself. So whatever reason they gave, that's the court.
Okay, so you as a black man who's sitting here can is really arguing that evidence presented in a court is always honestly going towards the argument that it's going towards.
No.
And if somebody wanted to
No.
pictures or illustrate someone in a way that makes them seem erratic or crazy or not making good decisions because I ultimately want to be over this person's money, you don't think they can come up with ways to explain cantankerous behavior?
Yeah, the same way women can explain ways that men ain't paying for child support that really do.
But we talking about two different issues. We talking about
talking
somebody. We talking
about the
about
system.
child support.
We talking about
and we
the court
talking
system.
about conservatorship.
We talking about the court system. The same way you said some lady went in there and said some guy wasn't handling responsibilities and put him on child support. That could have happened 70% of the situations that people on child support. But yet you'll say that there's a high number of black men on child support. So clearly they wasn't doing what they were supposed to. Maybe 70% of them people was lying on them. We don't know.
All I'm saying is that the court has to step in because the man is not doing it
The
on
court
his
had to step
own,
in.
and they need to garnish the wage.
The court had to step in
And they
because
have to
this
garnish
woman,
the wage. They had to
because this
establish.
woman
They had to
couldn't
establish
care for herself.
how much. No, the court.
Now
The
it's
court
no.
stepped in
Now
because
it's
somebody
no.
filed a petition.
Somebody filed a petition for child support.
The woman.
Uh,
In some
Somebody
cases,
filed a petition
because
for
the
she couldn't care
man
for
was
herself.
not. No, it wasn't that she couldn't care for herself. It's that
That's
she
what you
had
just
an
said the court
additional
said.
person. Conservatorship and child support are two totally different
You
things.
just said somebody went to court system about the lady not being able to care for herself.
No, it wasn't that she was not able to care for herself. It was an argument that I need to be over her money.
Why?
I don't know why in Britney Spears'
You said
case.
because she couldn't care for herself.
That is the presumption that she can't be
So
over her
that's-
own finances.
So the
But
court,
that doesn't mean
That is true.
that is true.
exactly. Thank you.
So
So all them women and all these people on child support that said these men wasn't, it might not have been
are
true.
you still arguing child support?
If you're gonna bring the courts
Are
up,
you